So a while back, during what we Mississippians jokingly refer to as winter, I decided to take a long hike down an old gravel road in the middle of who the hell knows. Just south of God knows where. I do this from time to time because I like nature, I like walking, and my mind-numbing desk job starves me of the outdoors. This area is what's called the Tupelo Gum Slough, which is a soupy, swampy area where the Pearl River meanders into the Ross Barnett Reservoir about 25 miles northeast of Jackson. The road itself is closed off by an ominous rusty gate and a sign riddled with, well...
Oh. Excellent. Bullet holes. Road closed my ass. I am tired. I think I've walked 5 or 6 miles, but I'm hesitant to say that for sure because the last time I thought I walked 5 or 6 miles, I measured it out on Google Earth later and it was like 2 miles. Moral of that story being, I am a wuss.
I walked down that road for several hours, and by the time I got to the end, where the trail met the river, it was dark. At which point, shit kind of got real. I suddenly remembered that the list of predators native to this area includes water moccasins, alligators, coyotes, bears. I just walked 10 miles alone down an abandoned gravel road through a swamp. I have no weapons of any kind, no water, no flashlight. And did I mention that my phone died? 'Cause my phone died. Is this how stupid people die? So as the sun disappeared behind the pine and cypress trees, I began the long walk back to my car, wondering as I went what predators might be coming out to play, and whether or not I could prove the dominance of my species to a bear by punching it in the face.
I don't know why the hell I did this. Jeez. Creepy. Just, the camera can see better than I can right now. Why the hell did I come the hell out here? Shit.
The trek back took me a solid 2 hours, and by the halfway mark I had giant blisters on my feet and my knees were aching under the weight of my severely out-of-shape ass. Not to mention I had psyched myself into being way over paranoid about wild animals, to the point where the slightest little rustling in the leaves or the bushes would totally freak me out. Now, despite my fear, however logical or illogical it might have been, I couldn't help but start thinking about myself in relation to the other animals. Obviously, due to our intelligence, we Homo sapiens are currently the dominant species on this planet. But in having been so thoroughly dominant for so long, and in having so thoroughly subdued so many other creatures, I think we've lost touch with the nature of our world. What I mean to say is that our own advancements in some ways have weakened us. Whether by our breakthroughs in medicine, making disease less of a concern, or by the industrialization of food, making us forget where that food comes from, I think that our social evolution has in some ways declawed us. And I don't just mean that in the obvious sense of how no, if a bear were to attack me in the forest, I would not be able to beat it off with my hands. I think you all know what I meant. I mean it in the sense that those of us, especially who live in first world countries, have lost touch with death. Not that it doesn't happen. I mean, all of us have experienced the death of a loved one, and we know how much it sucks. What we've lost touch with is the concept of causing death to earn life. It still happens, we just aren't around it when it does, so we forget about it. And what is a living thing after all? What defines life? I would argue that life is just energy expressed through a filter, those filters of course being our bodies. You could argue that the only real differences between a human being and say a blade of grass are in complexity and functionality. But on a basic level, we both just harness energy and do stuff with it. Grass, to my understanding, only knows how to use that energy to make more grass, though my knowledge of ecology is rather insufficient. Humans not only make more humans, but they organize the world around them. They separate its raw materials, they create new compounds, they build big-ass skyscrapers and barges and Mars rovers. But I digress, and the main point I'm trying to get across to you is that if life is energy, then all living is a form of killing. Any energy that I have within myself came from something else, whether meat or vegetable. And unless we evolve solar panel skin, our energy is always going to come from something else that was alive. Our lives cannot exist without the death of something else, which is why the strong survive and the weak fall prey. And we tend to think of this process as something terrible, probably because our genetic programming for survival dictates that we don't want to die. But no energy is ever created or destroyed, only changed, harnessed, or transferred. The death of a human being is like the tearing down of a Lego building. It's only going to be rebuilt, probably as something new and better. So say that I, whilst trekking through the wilderness in the middle of the night, were to be set upon by wild beasts, you know, alligators or bears or ninjas or something. What would the world lose if I were to be killed? Well, it would have lost a man who considers himself moderately intelligent, who still has 3/4 of his life left before him, and though he cannot afford the education he desires, still does try to learn things and has grand dreams of publishing a great many books and recording a great deal of music someday. Effectively, though, all the human race would lose is approximately 1/7 billionth of its functionality. On the flip side, though, it would have lost someone stupid enough to find himself alone, without water, food, a weapon, or a working cell phone 10 miles out in the middle of a slough at night. Had I been killed by wild animals, it could have in many ways been considered good for the human species. That basic genetic lack of common sense would have become slightly less prevalent among humans. And I know I'm being super dramatic here. People go out in the woods all the time. I did it all the time as a kid, just never at night. And I wasn't really in all that much danger, but that isn't to say that it didn't scare the shit out of me. Honestly, it's a good thing I keep a spare set of testicles in my car, because I lost my other ones when I was startled by, I kid you not, ducks. Oh, shut up. They made a loud sound. I also saw a beaver. Ladies.
What is that?
Is that a beaver? So that's all for now. Sometimes I just want to wax philosophical about evolution and show you guys pretty footage of beavers. As always, if you want to have a conversation with me about anything, you can write a comment or you can hook up with me on Facebook and Twitter. Those links are in the description. Also, if there's something in particular you'd like me to address in a future video, you can tell me about that, because I don't know many things, but I like to use your suggestions as excuses to go and study certain things and formulate opinions on them. So feel free to do that. And thank you all for watching. Victory. Come on, get in bloody focus. Focus will be the death of me. Xiaojie, your focus needs more focus. Excuse me. I've been recording for 2 minutes now and I haven't done anything. Bloody hell. Which is a soupy, swampy area where the Pearl River meanders across shit. Hey, Thorin.
Thorin, come hence, devil.
I gotcha. I don't know what I'm going to do with you, but I gotcha. He wears the cone of shame this week because he got fixed, and if I didn't put it on, he'd lick his stitches off. Additional evolution is required. I think I scared the shit out of him. I'm sorry. Why? Because that basic lack of